what is your opinion these days on specifically the word keto? It kind of seems like there's this interesting connotation that's kind of come when so many people have done keto and tried keto, and what is keto, and is this food keto or not keto? Like there's this whole thing about the word keto, and some people are, justifiably trying to step away from it. I'm just curious about what you think about that, like in
Well, I
2024.
think it's because the medical system and social media are making it sound negative and scary and dangerous, and people are unsure of what to do. And and it's like keto is a diet. Well, it's not that you want to get on a diet. Keto is a process. It's a metabolic process. And so what you want to look at it is not just, and I've kind of gotten away from the name too, only because I work on social media. I don't want to scare anybody off. It's not that it has to be so restrictive. It's just that it is a metabolic process. If your metabolism is broken, what are you going to use to fix your metabolism? So you don't have to use the word keto. Keto is a ketogenic diet. That is something that our ancestors did in winter to survive winter or when there was famine. And so it's just been broken down. It's something that was used for epilepsy. It's used today for children. And so it is a very powerful process to help your brain function. If you got a brain dysfunction, you do want to be more in a keto diet, but we don't really have to be keto strictly at a 70% fat to get the health that we need. We just need to take out the processed foods. That's how you start. You take out the ultra processed foods and just get yourself under 100 carbs. Take out the foods that are poisoning your body. Reduce that sugar load down to fruit. Reduce, get the wheat out of your diet. If you can hack those two things, then you're hacking your health. I mean, Dr. William Davis, he saved my life too, because it was his book that got me off of wheat. And Gary Taubes is Why We Get Fat. If we just get this information and start applying it, you don't have to look at this as a keto diet, but you want to look at it as an ancestral health, whole foods diet plan. Because it's not a diet, it's something you want to transition into your life. And yeah, it's going to hack your life. It's going to hack whether you live or die is what
Yeah.
it's going to do for you. And you don't have to look at it as something that's strict and scary. People are starting to see that word as something that's too strict and too scary. Don't look at it that way. How can you break it down and look at this as the natural diet of our species? Now, my cat, I found a bunny tail on the ground. This is just a story. I found a bunny tail on the ground today, and I know that that was a bunny tail and that the bunny was eaten fully, just like, I don't know. I think my cat's a snake. He just completely absorbed that bunny, and he'd done it before. And I just found a bunny tail each time. And this cat is carnivore, and he needs to eat that. And so that's our ancestral diet. That's what we need to eat. So even if we, try to domesticate a cat, that's their natural diet. And we got to look back at ancestral health. What is our natural diet? We can survive on cereal grains and carbohydrates, but that is starvation food. And people ate them. They eat tree root, tree bark. They ate whatever they could fill up their stomachs and make them live until they could find the food they needed to thrive. But you won't thrive if you're eating starvation food. Our body is made from meat. We have to eat the meat. And so it's not about looking at a term and being on that term. That's why I've named my method the holistic low carb method, is because there is so much more than just diet that's involved in it. You got to hack your health. I've become a biohacker. That's how I've succeeded at not just losing 100 pounds, but keeping 100 pounds off. Because it's not a diet. It's a lifestyle journey that you want to create. You got to hack your health. Exactly. It's a great term.
Well, I love it. And yeah, I really appreciate your insight as far as that goes. I had the observation at this conference that I wish more people would know that about the
Mm-hmm.
term keto in this kind of world, because if I were an attendee, and I didn't know what I know about nutrition now, if I was just starting my weight loss journey, I would have attended several different kind of either breakouts or talks or activities that had really conflicting information, even though it's all like kind of in the same ballpark. Like this one guy says that I need all these leafy greens and plant nutrients for some health. These other people are all carnivore and they say I don't. This person said you need to have a lot of fat for your hormones as you're aging, going through menopause. And this other lady says, no, you actually need to focus on the protein. You need the fat to be really low. So even within this world of a lot of people trying low carb, there's so many of this like minutia that we get caught up in, and like, oh, are you fasting for 12 hours? Or are you fasting for 14 hours? Like at the end of the day, like, come on, like we're not really getting to like the message that you kind of alluded to there, which is like, yeah, we should probably be spending some time in ketosis. And if we have a lifestyle that aligns with how we've evolved, that will naturally happen regardless of what the exact particulars are,
Yep, and that's pretty much what I've discovered over the last 8 years, because I believe I started keto. It's getting harder to remember. I started my keto diet at the Bulletproof Conference, and that was about 8 years ago, because I actually reference it towards I had just gone on a hike at the Grand Canyon, and soon after that I started at the diet at the Bulletproof Conference and started changing my life. And I forgot where I was going with this, but it's basically, if you start making the changes, and then over the last 8 years, what I've done is fine-tuned everything that worked for me as a woman over 50 and all the lifestyle factors that work. And I listen, I'm a voracious reader. I listen to all the podcasts. I'm binge listening to your podcast. I'm learning from so many people. I'm loving all of it. And every time I pick up a new piece of information, I stick it in my brain. And, and I've got this puzzle growing in there. And it's about everything you addressed. Yeah, should we be carnivore? Should we eat more vegetables? Do we need more fat? Do we need more protein? What exactly do we need for our body? Each person's a little different. That's why I run functional diagnostic labs with my clients, to find out what's going on in your body. If you've got, dysfunction and inflammation in your gut, you might need something different than another person. And so if your digestion's not functioning, we need to look at digestion. And so this is information. It's kind of like, taking your car in for a checkup. You got to take your body in for a checkup, see what direction you need to send your body in, what type of food you need at that very moment. If you've had depression, you need to actually have a little bit more fat. So I have a higher fat keto diet because I need fat to run my brain. Because otherwise, if I like Robin, I was listening to her story. If we need more fat to manage not to have bipolarism or to not have depression, then we need to be able to manage stress. So if you're a woman over 50 and you've got a lot of stress and your hormones unfunction, you might need more fat. And so, yeah, I agree with that. But at the same time, as a woman over 50, I agree that we need the right amount of protein. And so with my method, the way I look at it is I try to get my women to focus on 30 grams of protein minimally, because they're not eating enough. You need 30 grams of protein minimally at each meal, not snacking on a beef stick in between, but you eat that food all at once. So it's not about eating a beef stick. It's about eating 6 beef sticks. Is that going to equal 30 grams of protein? Because you want to build muscle, protect your bones, protect your muscle, protect your brain as a woman over 50. And that's the focus that I'm using. So, I listen to everybody who says, eat more protein, don't eat any fat. They say, don't eat bulletproof coffee. Well, that saved my life. I'm not going to tell my clients not to drink bulletproof coffee unless their body doesn't need it. If they're fine without it, I'm going to meet them where they're at, and I'm going to help them figure out what exactly they need to do for their body and their brain. And if they need a bulletproof coffee in the morning to stop their hunger and to manage they're going to lose weight. They're losing a pound a week. If you can drink the fat and lose the weight, your body will function better. We need fat to absorb our nutrients. And we need fat actually for digestion. And there's a lot of the tests that I'm running are showing that the digestion isn't functioning because there's not enough fat. And so those are some things that I look at to see where you need to go next. And so I had bulletproof coffee today so my brain can function. And when I break my fast, I'm going to eat probably 50 grams of protein so that I could build muscle. And I'm not going to waste my protein. I'm going to the point where if I'm going to eat, I'm going to make sure that the food I'm eating is programming my body and making me build muscle. So I'm 61 years old and I'm building muscle. And I love it. And so it's not about being skinny. We want to look beyond the skinny narratives and figure out how we can program our body with the right food for that specific individual. And that's where that puzzle piece has been growing in my brain. I've listened to everybody out there. I know about the fat. I know about the protein. I understand all of it. And I know that the studies show if we eat more protein, we lose more weight. But we also have to manage our stress. We have to keep our cortisols and our adrenals balanced. And so sometimes we do need the fat. And so, but each person is in a different spot as to what they need to do. And so that's where the circadian balance and the rhythm of all of this comes into play. And that's what I do. It's a holistic low carb method. And it involves diet, rest, exercise, stress management, toxics, environment, circadian balance, movement. We got to have sunlight. All of that about. But it's not just diet. You can't just do diet. You have to figure out how to hack your health per your individual body, what your body needs so that it functions the way you want it to, so you can live your best life and feel radiant.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.